welcome to a Fireside chat with Allie Potter, empowering smiles and changing lives. I'm a Ballou, the floor is yours.
Shoni, she's been amazing today, right? And I am so excited to be sitting here with Allie Potter today. I'm going to allow for her to introduce herself. We are so excited. The weatherman, just how are you doing today? Are you excited?
Good. Well, I was great until my sister gave me a hug and she had coffee and she just got all over me. So
that's how siblings can be.
It is. Yeah. She's the baby. So I get.
Wait a minute.
You know.
Wait a minute. I'm the baby too, so there's no baby slander. Baby slander taken up here.
Okay.
As you can hear.
Your brother can relate. See?
No. So we're so excited to have you here. And Allie.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. We had a brief conversation.
Yes.
You were born with a cleft. Did you experience any bullying growing up?
Absolutely. So I feel like it started maybe, kids being kids, a little bit of, making fun of and stuff like that. And then later on, it progressed into, it went from kid bullying to then adult bullying.
Yeah, people don't talk about that.
No, and especially I think people see someone on TV and they just go, oh, Target, and you're on folks's,
Radar,
TV in the morning or something, and you're doing the weather, and they're like, I don't like her dress. Ooh, I don't like her earrings. Oh, wait, her hair. Ooh, her face. And then it gets super detailed. Okay. And so then the questions really start to come.
So what about any childhood experiences of actual bullying? Is there a pivotal moment that you can remember where it was that was rough?
So this is when AOL was the thing.
Okay.
Instant Messenger. Some people are like, what? What's that?
Yeah. Raise your hand if you remember AOL. We do.
Yes. And away messages. I remember one time I was sending a message to one of our friends, my siblings' friends and stuff like that, and I pretended to be, somebody else. Okay. And I was like, oh, and I had a crush on him, and I was like, oh, what are your thoughts about Allie? And he's like, nice body, ugly face. And then it was like, what? And it was like, that.
Yeah. Something that you can't control.
Something super easy to just go, what? I can't help that.
You can't help that.
I was born that way.
Yeah. I think that's something that we've talked about and shared over the fact of you're born with this and nobody asks for a cleft. You don't ask for a cleft. And so having that to be the thing that kind of knocks you out of dating, and especially someone that you were interested at a teenager, it can be very devastating. And so how did you cope with that?
I think I know when you think about people on TV, they're very outgoing and very, woo, yay, let's go. And I'm honestly really a shy person naturally.
Same.
And you kind of just hold those feelings in.
Yeah.
And later on, you're like, maybe I should express them. And then if it's left with kind of rejection or not understanding, then you're like, never mind, I'm good. I'm just going to kind of do this. So you internalize a lot of things. Yeah. And I'm naturally a very sensitive person. Yeah. So words, and do you guys know about the 5 love languages?
Yeah.
So I'm words of affirmation. Okay. And so words mean a lot. And that's not really a good thing when you're like that.
I feel like that's kind of common for us who are cleft affected, because it's we know the power of words. We know the power of just a little statement, that one thing that he said, you remember that all these years later because that was a defining moment for you. Yeah. But you say that you're shy, but you helped victims in Hurricane Katrina. How did that ignite your passion for broadcasting?
So I was really involved in my church, and we went on a missions trip right after Hurricane Katrina, and TV was something I never, ever, ever thought I ever wanted to do. I actually wanted to be a pediatric surgeon and sew up. I know, huge drastic career change there. And then I was like, the schooling, I'm not very good at math. Okay, maybe not do that. But we were helping folks rebuild houses and hearing stories. And that was a big thing, was about stories. Okay. And I remember specifically, there was a lady, her name was Veronica. She's in a wheelchair. She was just sitting there and she was like, man, I had everything in life. And she was just telling about her husband, her kids, how she had all this money, and then it was just gone. And literally nothing. She had a bucket full of random things, and that was it. She said, this is all I have, honey.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I was like, tell me more. Like, I want to know more. And I was kind of being nosy, but I just wanted to know, like, how did you get from where you were to now?
Yeah.
And so we started as a team, like our missions trip team was going, hey, let's document this. Like, these are people's stories out here. And I remember someone gave me a mic and they said, hey, why don't you ask the questions? And in that moment, I was like, oh, you know, and like, people do this as a career.
Yeah.
And then I just was like, yeah, I'm not going to go be a surgeon after all.
That's pretty cool. But before you became a broadcaster, you were a Major League Baseball cheerleader.
Yes, those exist.
Yes.
I know they're coming more and more common. And so that just, things just kind of fell into place. I didn't mean for things to really happen. And I just wanted to first work for a baseball team. I wanted to go into sports broadcasting.
Okay.
I just want to get my foot in the door. And they were like, hey, why don't you do this? And you could actually get paid instead of not getting paid for the internship. And I was like, well, let's do it.
Let's do that.
So we did, and it was fun. And then it just kind of opened more doors with broadcasting.
Okay. And so that's how you became the weather forecaster. What skills or experiences did you carry over from one role to the other?
So I started out as a reporter. And then it turned into, it's interesting, the market, you get into the market and then you have to work your way up. So you start as maybe a reporter, then you go to maybe an anchor, you do weather or sports or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I started out as a reporter and then was an anchor in Oregon. I've been to 5 different markets. And so then finally I was doing weather and I just fell in love with it, really. And I was born in the middle of a hurricane. So maybe that kind of helps, right? Hurricane Chantal in Houston. So
You're just a hurricane yourself?
I know. It just, you never know what to expect.
So in an industry where appearance is often emphasized, how do you navigate the challenges of being on television with a facial difference?
So I've learned over the years some tricks with makeup that does wonders. So one time a guy at work came in, he goes, whoa, you look like a different person. But it's because you kind of tweak things with mascara, lip liner is amazing, concealer. And so that helps, but I kind of go into what we were talking about earlier. You go from the childhood bullying to the adult. And it's usually folks that are behind their computer, you know, and I will creep back and I will look on their Facebook profile and it's usually like, be kind to others. And I'm like, what?
You know, it sounds good out loud. They don't always practice sometimes, but it's okay. But who were your role models or sources of inspiration as you pursued your career in journalism, and how did they influence your journey?
That's a great question. Like personally or professionally?
Both.
My dad.
Okay. We don't talk about the cleft dad journey a lot, but I think it's very important to honor the dad. Yeah, you know, my dad passed away, but he was very pivotal into my journey, so I understand that. So thank you to Dad right here. We're going to give him a round of applause. So how did Dad help you?
So I'm emotional, clearly. He's not.
Okay.
And so I'm able to go to him going, there's this going on, there's this and there's that. And he's like, breathe, calm down, everything's gonna be okay.
You sound like my dad.
And it's just like, but it's not, and they said this, and oh my God, my life's over, and he's like, just sits there, and I'm like, and? He's like, I'm gonna wait till you finish. And now he's learned, do you want me to listen, or do you want me to fix it?
Fact, logic, and reason. My dad would always say that. Fact, logic, and reason, you can get through anything. And your dad sounds like the same way.
Yeah,
but
they would have been friends.
Yeah, it allowed you to be emotional, but
exactly.
Come back to the fact, logic, and reason.
And then later on, you're like, Dad, you're right.
And so your energy is captivating the audience. How do you maintain these qualities, and what do you hope your viewers take from your broadcast?
So I think just being positive, I'm naturally a positive person. There's been other personal things that I've gone through, which I won't discuss here, but that you just learn, like, I wish that there was someone like me when I was 3 or 4 years old, right? Because there's no one that you look up to going, like, I know I'm being made fun of. I know I look like this, but like, is there someone else normal? Like anyone?
Right.
You know? I didn't know anyone that had a cleft lip. But here's the crazy thing. My brother Adam has a cleft lip too.
Same.
and a palette. And so it's crazy to just, that was kind of something that he was the only person I really knew.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's just, it's wild.
So what
It's been a wild journey.
It has been.
I'm trying to stay positive. There's Adam. There he is. Oh. And he's an actor. So it's like him and I are both on TV. And that's just wild to me. People like us aren't, and I've always said we're not supposed to be on TV because we don't look normal.
Well, here you are. So what would you say to the little Allie?
Oh.
It's okay.
I would just say, hang in there, girlfriend. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. You made it.
And you're going to look at that boy that you message our name. And his life sucks now.
And so, what advice do you have for young people with a facial difference or a cleft who aspire to be in broadcasting or any other public-facing roles?
I would say it's okay. I know that this saying, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
You know that thing?
Yeah.
But it really is okay to take a moment and just go, I'm just not having a good day. I don't like how I look right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
And you could go, well, what will fix it?
Yeah.
Well, wearing more makeup or, doing filler or whatever it is. Like, will that make me feel better or beautiful?
Yeah.
And if that's the answer, then go
Do
ahead.
it. Yeah.
It's you. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's so amazing when folks are so confident in themselves.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about cocky
Yeah.
or, oh, look at me, because usually those people are insecure.
Yeah.
But it's like you come out going, yeah, I've been through stuff and we can relate. But at the same time, like, look where we are now.
Exactly.
And you're being confident about that.
Yeah.
And I could fully say that now.
Yeah.
And I think before you go, nope. Like, I want to be like you and I want to be confident, but I'm just not.
Yeah.
And we all have flaws.
You all have
We
flaws, and
right?
you have those days where you just don't feel it, but
And
it's
that's
okay.
okay.
That's okay.
And
I
you
think,
just give yourself grace.
yeah, we can all relate to that in this
Yeah.
room of no matter where you are in your journey, there's going to be some really high days where it's just like,
Yep.
this does not affect us at all. And there's going to be another day where you read a comment and you're just like, that had me spiraling.
Right.
That had me
Or the
spiraling.
humidity in Houston
Yeah.
is not doing okay. Arizona hair.
Oh, yesterday I was dying. But have you received any feedback from your viewers who relate to your story or appearance? And how has this feedback influenced your work or perspective?
To be completely honest with you, cleft is something I've never talked about, ever.
So this is your first time?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, congrats.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's something I've never talked about. People have obviously asked, like, oh, what happened? Usually it's you got bit by a dog or
Yeah.
some traumatic story or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I was born with the cleft. And then they go, oh. And they give you a weird look too. And it's like, okay.
Did you ever tell a weird story about your scar? Like,
No, but I should.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I would tell weird stories
Ooh,
sometimes.
that would
if
be-
if they didn't ask
I could
for it,
come up
just-
with a lot of
Yeah,
things.
just tell a weird story.
Like, you should have seen the other guy.
Yeah, like, yeah. And so what inspired you to share your story now? Like, why now?
I think, so this is something I've always wanted to do, but I never thought I could do it, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, like in your heart, like, it's something you should do and your gut's telling you one thing and your head's telling you the other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a struggle. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not coming here. Like, I can't do it. And I'm really good about controlling on camera nerves and, that saying, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Like, I could have a terrible day and those viewers will never know. And then I get off there and I'm like, these are things you can't fake.
Yeah.
The emotions you can't fake. And it's something that it goes back to, if there's someone like me that I can help, another girl later, and that has happened.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was playing volleyball and a girl came up to the girl's mom came up to my mom, was like, Crystal looks up to Allie so much and she noticed her scar. And I just have to ask you, like, what happened? Because Crystal had a scar too.
Okay.
And Crystal was bit by a dog.
Okay.
And she thought I was bit by a dog.
Oh.
And so she was like, if I could be like Allie,
Yeah.
like, and that just gave her confidence that I was like, oh my gosh. And that was like 16 or something. And
Yeah.
I've always remembered that But you remember those stories, you remember the highs and lows. But at the same time, I think you just have to be positive. And people, if they don't like you, well, then forget them. Like, who cares?
Yeah. And we can all relate to that. And I think the biggest thing I would like to know, like, is there anything that you would like to say to your family at this time, just as a thank you?
Well, thanks for putting coffee on my dress. I do, if we could pull up the sibling photo, because I do want to point out something. Okay. This is going to be the weathercaster.
Oh, she's going for it.
All right. Okay, so I'm the oldest. Drew, he works out a little bit. He's the second oldest. Autumn, of course, is the baby. And Adam is the third. So me and Adam both have cleft lips. And so it's been really interesting to see like how it skipped. So it was me, skipped Drew, and went to Adam, skipped Autumn. So if my parents had like a fifth kid or something, would they have had something? So it's just interesting to point that out. And
you're gonna come back.
I know.
Come to the stairs. I was like,
live entertainment.
right, guys?
You know, I do. Another thing too is, I guess I just want to know, and I think we've all been having these conversations, is, you know, what's the cause of it? And is it really hereditary? I mean, I have a 7-year-old, and I remember I was praying to Lord that he would not have cleft. I was like, please, God. And during his anatomy scan, I was so big about check his lip. Check his lip. Gotta get the lip.
Yeah.
And they're counting the fingers. I'm like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Let's just get to the lip. And when they were like, it's fused. And I was just like, like a whole, like just the weight.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to go through yourself, but for your kid,
Yeah.
no.
I agree.
You don't want that.
You don't want that. You don't want to.
Sorry.
No, and I.
Dad, give me a check.
So looking ahead, what are your goals and for your career and your personal life? And how do you plan to continue to inspiring and advocating for those who are cleft affected like yourself?
Well, it's all new to me.
Okay.
Does this work?
It's all new to me. And I honestly just put it on social media that I was, doing this event. And it was literally on Monday. I started posting and everyone's like, what? And so I don't know where it goes from there. I just try to think about people who are on TV. There's a couple actors and stuff, but there's no women.
Yeah.
And if I could help people, or even parents, that the doctor in the last couple sessions ago, they were talking about, parents being that support or just not knowing.
Yeah.
Like, is my kid going to be okay?
Yeah.
Are they going to be an outcast? Are they going to be normal? Can they have friends? Can they get married? Can they do any of this stuff, they could do all of that.
You can do it all.
And everyone has a story, thankfully mine wasn't as severe as maybe others, but I feel like everyone has their own individual story, and that's so important. And, but it's also okay to just smile. Sometimes you're like, this is not going to be a good day. And just be positive. Yeah. And I think that's one thing is you can let the emotions get to you and feel it out. But at the end of the day, be positive and be proud of who you are. Yeah. And I think that's really the big takeaway is just know who you are, be positive. And then and I know this saying, be kind to others, is so just said, but it's literally, it could just take one person at the grocery store or a mean look or just a comment or something, and that will haunt you. Yeah. And it's something about the cleft community, and honestly, like I've never been involved in the cleft community. This is so new to me. And, but it's this connection that you have, right? Yeah. And I'll be at the grocery store, and one time I was at Home Depot. I was looking for some nails or something. Yeah, I do handiwork. And this guy was helping me. I was like, I think I need this. And he's like, yeah, you need this. And I was like, okay, great. And then I noticed right? You know when it's a cleft.
Instantly,
And so I was like, do I ask him? And I'm like, and you're like, I want to. Yeah. And he knew who I was too, right? So that kind of helped a little
Yeah.
bit. And I go, hey, I said, I know this is really personal and I'm so sorry. Like, forgive me if this is not appropriate, but were you born with a cleft?
Yeah.
And he said, he's like getting the nails and he's like, yeah, I was. Here you go. And he just like scurried off. I go, hey. And I was like, I was too. And he just like gave me the biggest smile and he goes, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then like he walked away.
Yeah.
But it was like the confidence and just his shoulders like went back and then he just walked away like in confidence.
Yeah.
And it's something to remind, like there's other people that look like you.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. We all know that little thing, like you like recognize somebody out in the wild and it's like, you got it too. You're part of the sisterhood. You're part of the brotherhood. We understand.
Right.
Like, hey.
Yeah.
And you give that little nod and it's like, hey.
Right.
Even if you
Yes.
don't talk about it, you just a little.
They know.
You
like
know.
you know it.
You know each other. You see each other. And it's a beautiful thing to be seen by someone else who understands it and who gets it. And we are so excited that you were here today. And thank you for sharing your story with us. She will be here the rest of the day. You guys, as you see her out, please come up to her, take a picture with her. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us for the first time. I'm honored that you trusted me to do this. I thank you so much for that. And thank you all for joining us for this session. We will be moving into our next session very briefly. Okay, thank you guys.